For those of you that don't know me, I am Sally Swan. I'm Head of Partnerships at Much Loved, and I'm delighted to tell you that I'm joined this morning by Vicky from Devon Air Ambulance, who is going to share details about their stewardship journey that they have kind of recently implemented and the impact that that has had on their organisation. Now, I've had a little sneaky peek of the presentation, and I think it's going to be really useful. Vicky's very kindly sharing lots of information with you. So please do take a moment. If you've got any questions, now that you're very familiar with the chat, please pop them in the chat. Either keep them to the end if you want, or just pop them in the chat as you think of them, but we'll look at them at the end of the presentation and we'll go through all of those. And obviously, if you've got any platform questions, I am more than happy to answer those as well whilst we're here today. So a couple of other bits of housekeeping. The session is recorded, so if you want to share it with colleagues, you would be very welcome to. We'll pop it on our support site, so you'll be able to access a recording of it directly through there. It might take me a couple of days to do that, so probably look back early next week and it'll be available to you. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Vicky, who's going to share her experience of improving their stewardship journey with you this morning.
Hi, good morning. Sunny Devon here as well today. Watching all the chats come through saying it's sunny right across the country by the look of things, so that's really good. Yes, this morning I'm sharing with you our story of connection and growth with our in-memory supporters. And I just wanted to say a huge thanks as well to Much Love for allowing me to share our story with you. So I am Vicky Heedon, and I'm one of the supporter services assistants within the fundraising team at Devon Air Ambulance. I'm based at our head office, which is in Exeter. And as part of my role, I deal with our in-memory supporters and legacy inquiries, as well as other administration within the fundraising team. So I work part-time, and I've been with the charity for just over 7 years now. So I'll just start by explaining a bit about who we are. So in 1986, Anne Thomas's son, Kerry, was tragically killed in an accident. He was knocked from his bike. When Anne asked what could have potentially saved her son's life, she was told that the quicker a patient receives treatment, the better the chances of survival. So that stayed with Anne, and she launched the Kerry Thomas Appeal to raise funds to get an air ambulance in Devon. And the picture on the screen in front of you there shows Anne with Kerry. So in 1992, Devon Air Ambulance flew its first mission, initially only operating 5 days a week. By 2008, we had purchased our first helicopter instead of leasing them. And then by 2016, we started nighttime flying. So this was enabled by the use of the first community landing site. And we now have over 200 of these. And we celebrated the opening of the 200th community landing site only last year in 2024. So in 2019, Devon Air Ambulance became an independently registered healthcare provider, regulated by the Care Quality Commission. And in 2020, we introduced 2 critical care cars operating alongside our 2 helicopters. And then to bring you up to date, as of this year, we now have 2 helicopters and 4 critical care cars operating. And next year, in 2026, we're looking forward to celebrating 40 years since the concept of Devon Air Ambulance began, with Anne's idea of the Kerry Thomas Appeal in memory of her son. So Anne Thomas, or Anne Raleigh as she's now known, she is actually now Devon Air Ambulance's lifetime president. And that's wonderful for us because she's such a truly inspiring lady. And our In Memory supporters have played such an important role in helping Devon Air Ambulance on the journey to get us to where we are now. I do feel that for people to be turning their grief into something so positive, that really is a special way of giving. And that's why I'm here with you today to share our story. Just before I do that, I just wanted to share with you a figure that I find interesting myself. So in the UK every year, there are approximately 4,400 public health funerals held, and that equates to around 12 funerals every day, which are organised by local councils, where there are no known relatives or the family are unwilling or unable to make these arrangements for the deceased. And I just find that figure quite sad, as it's quite a contrast with all the wonderful tributes and in memory collections and donations that most of us see within our job roles each day. So tributes which in contrast are created and used with love, and they can be such a meaningful way to celebrate someone's life. So I feel that's why it's so important for us to get what we do absolutely right. So moving on to our In Memory journey, during 2023, we decided to internally review our In Memory offering. So prior to this, with these donations, we always thanked the family or next of kin and also confirmed receipt to the funeral directors. But that was after we'd received any donations. We had no kind of stewardship process in place, which wasn't a great experience for the family or next of kin. And we'd noticed that there'd also been an increase in online donations during and post COVID. So we wanted to review our administration practices and felt we could offer a lot more to both the family and funeral directors that we interact with. In September 2023, after seeing what Much Loved were able to offer us, we decided that we would subscribe to their Optimum package. So what we did next, a lot of the knowledge that we gained and subsequently used to carry out our review came from attending Much Loved and other in memory giving webinars. And we learnt a lot from other charities sharing their own experiences. So that's been really helpful for us. And that's also why I'm sharing with you today. So as part of our new process, we reviewed our written and verbal communications, updating the tone and language used to bring it up to date. We introduced more frequent touch points and made sure that there's intention behind each step. And we wanted to ensure that we were engaging with our supporters with kindness and care, keeping their loved one at the heart of all that we do. And we also wanted to make sure that we were communicating with the funeral directors in a friendly yet professional way as well. So I'm now going to just take you through our new process in some more detail over the next few slides, just to explain our supporter journey. So now, within 2 to 3 days of receiving an automatic notification from Much Loved or another platform that a new tribute page has been created, we email the funeral director if they set the tribute up, just to thank them for doing so. And to reassure them that we will only contact the family regarding the tribute. If they haven't assigned a tribute owner, we explain that we'll send our acknowledgement to confirm receipt of donations care of them and ask if they wouldn't mind passing this on our behalf. And we also email the tribute owner if there is one, or the next of kin if we know them, or family member, just to thank them as well. So we set a timescale for when we will next be in contact with them and invite them to contact us if they need anything. And for our Much Loved tributes, we also ensure that they are aware of the grief chat service should they wish to use that. So with our Much Loved tributes, we like to make sure that our supporters are aware of how the tribute pages work. And we explain some of the things that we take for granted, but they may not always be aware of. So we explain that they've got no time limit with the page, and that it's a space where they can share photos, music and memories of their special person. That they can light virtual candles and add virtual gifts, and share funeral details, and that it can also be used to celebrate a special anniversary or even to organise events and fundraising. And when I speak to our supporters, they do genuinely seem to take a huge amount of comfort from using the pages, and that's really lovely. And also from our perspective, we find the reporting's really helpful too. Most importantly for me, it's really easy for me to use. So with the Much Love tributes, we also schedule a virtual candle for the date of the funeral, if we know when that is. If we don't know when it is, we'll light the candle for as soon as possible, just to say that we're thinking of them. And then approximately 4 weeks after this, if we've received donations, we email the funeral director to confirm receipts. Also, we'll either email or write to the tribute owner, depending on the contact details that we hold for them, to say thank you. If we're expecting further donations through Much Loved or another platform or method, we will email them a soft thank you. So that thanks them for the donations received to date, and it also explains that when we anticipate that we'll be in touch again. So that's usually in a few weeks, just to confirm the total amount received at that point. And that's actually reduced the number of queries we receive from people wondering if we've received the donations. We've also introduced a handwritten card that we use, and that's the image on the screen there. So we send that through the post. It's blank inside so that it can be tailored as required and used flexibly. So, for example, we'd use that to thank for people that they've set a tribute up, even if we don't receive any donations through. Just because I feel it's important for us to show our gratitude. It's not just about the donations coming in, it's also about engagement. And we also use these cards to thank for additional or ad hoc donations received at a later stage. Or if someone has just been in touch with us to share a memory with a donation, we feel a personal response is appropriate. Also, if we've got no postal address, we have developed this e-card version, which we email through. And it does also look really nice on a mobile phone screen. And again, with this one, we can tailor the wording on these depending on the circumstances. So once we think we've received all the anticipated donations, we'll send a final thank you letter. This could be 4 weeks later, or longer than this. It just depends on the timescale between the tribute being set up, the funeral date, and then the donations coming through. So this one, so it not only thanks them, but it also explains the impact of the donations on our service. And it goes into detail about what the donation could be funding and how many missions we've carried out, etc. So if there is no tribute owner and we don't know the next of kin, we will post the letter, care of the funeral director, addressed to the family of the deceased person. And we feel it's important as well to mark the milestones during that first year. So at Christmas, with the Much Loved tributes, we light a virtual Christmas candle, which we schedule as soon as they're released by Much Loved, just to say that our thoughts are with you this time of year. And we also light a virtual candle on the first anniversary of their loved one's death or of the tribute being set up. So the credit for the wording we use for this one goes to Much Loved. So we just say, this time last year, you were thinking of us and now we're thinking of you. And I really like that wording, as I feel it feels really relevant. And this also feels like a nice natural ending point, really, for our supporter journey, and unless they've opted into receiving further communications from us, so our newsletters or our helipad magazines. And when we make contact with all of our in-memory supporters, even those who donate using other platforms or methods, we also signpost them to setting up a tribute within our virtual memory garden through our website. So we've made improvements as well to the content and layout of the in-memory section of our website. This was to ensure that it's easy for people to locate and that it's straightforward for them to navigate and find what they're looking for. So whether that's seeking out an existing tribute or creating a new one, and there are contact details on there too for our patient and family support department, and also contact details for external bereavement support as well. So as part of our new process, we've improved the way that we record all our in-memory tribute pages on our CRM, Donify. So we ensure that they're set up on there as soon as we're made aware of them. And we record any links or URLs to the online tributes that we have. So we use tasks and reminders to make sure we're always thanking in an accurate, timely way. This can sometimes be tricky to coordinate if we're receiving a lot of donations through different sources and at different times, but so far it is working well. So we are really fortunate in that currently we are still able to do a lot of this manually, so we can keep it personal. So we set up tasks on our CRM, and we can keep the personal touch by handwriting and hand signing letters. It does mean we can reference in our communication if the deceased person is well known locally, if they had a particular affiliation to Devon Air Ambulance, or if it, perhaps it's one of our volunteers. And we always ensure that we mention the deceased person by name in all our communications. We also continually revise the content of our written communications to keep them fresh and current, and then we can ensure that we include the most up-to-date figures as well. So new for us this year, we're currently working on an integration through a third party between Much Loved and our CRM to automate the process of donations being added. So this will enable us to send a tailored thank you to everybody who individually donates rather than just a generic thank you. And this is something we're currently unable to do due to time constraints. And we've also recently started using social media to promote our Much Loved Memory Garden at key points during the year. So Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, that kind of thing. And we'll also be including some funeral directors this year in our week of thanks, which we'll be doing later on this year. So that's the first time that we'll be including them, as we really want to build on those relationships too. And we're also refining our process all the time. So introducing new things. So like sending out seeds with our correspondence, or Devon Air Ambulance pin badges, and also introducing an in-memory giving pack on our website. And we're also hoping to increase our in-memory giving messaging within all of our communications, just to make it a little more visible. So we've got lots of plans. And we've introduced a lot of small changes, which has all taken some time and effort, but in turn has created more interactions with our supporters and with funeral directors. So it's also meant that the number of Much Loved tributes that are set up have increased from 2023 to 24, and they are still continuing to grow this year too. And the donations that we received through Much Loved from 2023 to 2024 have almost doubled in size. So to date during this year, they're still on track with the 2024 figures as well, which is fantastic. So overall, our in-memory giving has continued to grow this year, which we're really pleased about considering the current economic climate. And it has also meant that the number of tributes set up without any donations being made has reduced too. Also, the number of tributes being created without a tribute owner being assigned has reduced considerably too. So most importantly, I just want to emphasise that although it's all really positive, and this is wonderful for us as we're a low, medium-sized regional charity, it absolutely wasn't our primary focus. It has always been about wanting to improve the supporter experience and to provide the best experience for them that we can. So happily, although it's taken some time, our engagement from family members has also increased now too, and that's really lovely to be part of. So our learnings, what we've learnt along the way, so with our printed card with the rainbow and helicopter image on the front, we learnt that not printing onto shiny card made life a lot easier when you actually want to write on them. And also not making the card too large so that the messaging inside can be kept short, just so that it's not too overwhelming for bereaved people who don't want to be reading long messages. But the temptation otherwise is just to want to fill the card with writing, which isn't great. And as well as this, by not having any printed messaging inside the cards, it makes them more adaptable depending on the circumstances. So we felt that we needed the e-card versions too, as there are still quite a lot of people who only wanted to provide us with an email address, and we wanted to be able to communicate with them in a different way rather than just sending another email through to them. Otherwise, we just felt that they could look automated. And we wanted to also have different letter templates to be able to keep some consistency with our communications. And we also wanted to make sure that we keep our content up to date and for it to not be repetitive by personalising them. And we need to remember as well to keep updating our figures and our mission stats to ensure that they're accurate, so it's got more impact. We also found that because of the gap between the date the tribute's set up and when we received the donations through, we needed to have that soft thank you letter to fill the space, just to prevent people from feeling like they've been forgotten about. And we're also still learning all the time as well, which is great. So looking to the future, there's so much more that we can do with our in-memory giving to ensure that the families are receiving the best supporter experience from us. So far, this hasn't actually cost us very much at all to do, but it does take time, and that has probably been our biggest investment. And we have found that you do need to put in some effort and to keep on doing that as well. So something else that we found is that the funeral directors are really keen to have more involvement within their local community, and that obviously for us is great. And we have got a lot of plans for the future. So we haven't utilised everything that Much Loved has to offer us yet, and we hope to be able to do more. So using virtual gifts, encouraging fundraising if appropriate, and also automating some of the reporting where we can. And we are hoping at some point in the not too distant future to be able to offer an in-memory celebration event, and a funeral director thank you event too. But at the moment, we really could just do with a few more hours in the day to be able to do that. So thank you so much for listening this morning. I really do hope that you might be able to find something from this morning's session is useful for you. Please do get in touch if you have any questions, and I'll do my very best to answer them. And if it's not now, if I don't have the answer now, I'll happily come back to you. But thank you so much for listening.
That's brilliant, Vicky. And judging by all the fantastic claps and hearts that we're seeing on the screen now, I think it's safe to say that the audience found it extremely useful and insightful. So thank you very much for sharing, because I know it's not the easiest thing to do to present in front of a big audience. So, but just to say thank you, and that I think the rest of the audience do really appreciate that. Good news is that there are lots of questions that have come in. So that's great. The first one is about dates held on Much Loved for anniversaries. So we do hold the dates, but we don't make the dates available. But what we do is you can receive an alert 3 days before an anniversary of a birth or a death. depending on, it's all dependent on whether the tribute fund holder has included that information when they set up their tribute in the first place. But if they have, and you set up an alert to receive notification, then you will receive it 3 days before it happens, so you can then act upon it. Questions for you, Vicky. Do you also offer a stewardship journey for donors or just tribute fund holders?
So in memory donors, no.
Yeah, I think so.
No,
right.
No, we don't, not currently. No, it'd be great if we could. And obviously in an ideal world, I would love to do a whole lot more, but there's just not enough hours in the day. But no, that would be great. There are like lots of things like that we don't currently do.
Okay. And what platform do you use to create and edit the e-card on?
Oh, that's done on Canva. Canva, that's really good.
Good old Canva. We love that. Did you gain any supporter insights before launching this new supporter journey to test the appetite?
No, we didn't. A lot of our learning sort of really came from listening to other charities and what they were saying and what they were talking about, what they'd done. We went on that, I suppose. Yeah, we just did it, but it was such a gradual process because we couldn't do it all at once. It has been, it's baby steps. We've done one thing at a time. And I suppose the more you do, the more feedback you receive from people, and so you continue. So that's how we've done it. It's been done in that way, quite slowly.
Okay, brilliant. And at what point somebody said at what point you send seeds or pin badges?
So that would be done either, we are quite flexible with our approach, but we would either do that when the family approach us and they may ask for collection boxes for a funeral, or other sort of supporter material, or at the end if we're doing a nice thank you because we've received some lovely donations and things, we might send them out then. So we are quite flexible in our approach. It does depend on quite a few different things. So if we receive quite a large donation through, then we would sort of send them out with our thank you letter then. But it's quite a flexible approach. And if it's somebody that I've been sort of dealing with and stewarding, then I would certainly be sending that out earlier on in the process.
Great. And somebody else has asked, how many people do you have working on your team that focuses on in memory? I think I know the answer to this one, but I'll let you answer it.
Well, it is me that I work part-time, but it's me that I do deal with a lot of that within my role. But I've got 2 colleagues who also do deal with some in-memory stuff as well. I'm the only person that deals with Much Loved, and we've also got my manager who does a lot of, she supports us a lot as well. So that's how it is currently. Yeah.
Excellent. And some other questions still. What is Week of Thanks and what do you do?
Oh, okay. So that's kind of, it's like a thankathon, I suppose. So we it's a no ask. We either phone or send really lovely cards, thank you cards, out to a number of supporters. So it's not about the amount that they've supported. It could be just the fact that they've been supporting us for a long period of time. So we might send them out to lottery supporters or general donors. We have like certain criteria that we would do. So it's not the same people every year. So there's a batch of people, but it's great because it's people from all across the charity that take part. So we ask for people to help out and they'll do that, and they'll make 20 phone calls in that week, or they'll write 20 cards for us and they'll all get sent out during that week, and then we'll put out posts on social media as well. So for us to be able to also do that now with funeral directors is great, because it's a really lovely thing to do, and it's so nice to do something without an ask as well. It's just nice to have that thank you. We get some really great feedback from that as well, so that's a really lovely thing to do.
Yeah, brilliant. I can imagine people do really like, it's important to make people feel valued because they really are, aren't they?
Absolutely. I wouldn't be here without our supporters, so yeah.
Somebody's asked if you'll be sharing slides. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
A copy of them. So actually, we might need you to resend them as a download file, and then I can distribute them or put a copy of them on the support site if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Olivia's asked, she'd love to know if you've seen any changes in where the majority of your tribute funds have come from. Have you seen any difference in the quantities that have been set up by funeral directors directly through Much Loved or through your own service?
So we do receive, I'd say we do now have more that are set up through our website than we did previously. I'm just trying to think about, it's still the same number. Well, we've got more tributes overall being set up. More have now got tribute guardians attributed to them, and we have more connection with the tribute guardians or next of kin as well. I don't, other than that's kind of the only answer I can give, really. I'm sorry, I probably not answered the question very well.
Don't worry, I'm sure it's sufficient. So I have a couple of questions and I'll combine them together about the letter content and figures. So someone's asking how often you review them, but also somebody asked whether you also are a welcome pack for new tributes. So I didn't know whether that kind of information might be included in the letter that you send.
Yeah, so the welcome pack for new tributes, we don't currently have. That's something we are actually working on at the moment. So that's one of our in the pipeline things. So we're hoping to have one at some point during this year. The letter content, the mission stats get amended. It depends on the letter, because we have our yearly figures that we send out, but we also have monthly figures that we share too. So it very much depends on what letter content the person has already been sent. So if they've been sent a letter with last month's mission stats in, we then we're then writing to them again, the next letter would then show what our mission stats were for the previous year. So it's not got the same content. And our letters, because we've got about maybe 5 or 6 different templates that we use, they are sort of jiggled around quite often, but I mean, they're reviewed at least once a year. Generally it's more often than that. They'll be altered maybe every 6 months or every 3 months. It just depends really. But yeah, we like to make sure that people aren't just getting that same repetitive letter sent through to them, because that's just not good at all.
Okay, brilliant. And then somebody else asked if you exclude new in-memory donors, but I think you've already said that you don't from receiving communications from other teams, but I think you've said that you don't communicate with in-memory donors.
No, we don't. It's an absolute opt-in. If they're opting in, that's great, but if they're not, no, we wouldn't at all.
Yeah, so if they opt in, they'll just receive the standard, whatever other marketing materials that you.
They will. I mean, we are looking at the moment at altering our opt-in preference with some sort of keeping in touch add-on with our thank you letters or emails, but we don't currently do that.
Okay. Somebody else has asked how your income through in memory compares with income stream community fundraising streams, other community fundraising streams, in terms of the time you spent and the funds you raise, I think.
I have absolutely no idea. I'm so sorry. I don't know.
No worries.
We have so many different income streams that we use to sort of budget and review our income. Obviously, we've got things like community fundraising, we've got collection boxes, retail, lottery. We've got so many different ones. I don't know what the comparison is between InMem. I know what our InMem income is, but I don't know how that compares to our other income streams. So I can't answer that now. I can probably get an answer to that and come back. Let you know.
And then I've got time for a couple of more. So somebody's asked about the seeds. Are they just sent to tribute fund holders or sort of guardians?
That's the plan. Yeah, that's what we're introducing. We're currently doing that right now. So yeah, it's a nice thing to send out to the tribute guardian, to the next of kin, when we're thanking at the end, kind of thing, when they're having their, like, not final thank you, but what we think is going to be the final thank you that they have from us. So yeah, it's just to sort of just to say it is just a gift to say thank you.
Yeah, brilliant, excellent. And somebody else has said they also use Donify and would like to chat through how you record your IMOs, as they're beginning to do that themselves. That's Amy. So maybe I can put you two in touch and then you can speak about that directly.
But, yeah, of course.
Brilliant. So I think we've gone through all of the questions. So just a final thank you very much, Vicky, for sharing your insight, and a quick reminder to say that if anybody else in the audience is willing to share their experience and insight of having a tribute fund scheme and how you manage it, then please do let me know, because we're always looking for speakers. And I know as an audience that you're potentially more interested in hearing from partners than from us all the time. So it is really good to have a mixture. So we're constantly looking for people to contribute to these sessions. So if you've got anything that you think would be interesting to share, or you've done something new, or you've trialed something, or you've got some great results that you'd like to highlight, then please do get in touch with me. It's just sally.swan with a double N at muchlove.com. Please do reach out, and we'll look at incorporating that into our webinar lineup. We have got a couple more planned for the rest of this year. I think maybe September and October. I haven't actually loaded them yet, but they'll be up in the next couple of weeks. So just keep an eye on the support site, and you can sign up for the forthcoming sessions. They'll also be mentioned in our newsletters, which you get monthly. So yeah, I thank you again very much, Vicky, for joining us today, and I hope everybody has a fantastic Thursday.